It is that time of the week, much loved by some, much despised by others. It's time for Friday feedback, when I take a look at just a small sampling of the messages we receive across various platforms. Some are praise, some are attacks, some are critiques, some are questions. But what I can assure you is that we can never fully represent the total scope of vile and disgusting, anti-Semitic, homophobic, xenophobic, and racist messages that we receive all the time. But let's start somewhere and see if we can find some substance in the midst of all of it. Alexander Kappelhoff says, just a short while ago, Pacman was arguing to keep Biden in the race. That makes me question his political insights now. Well, listen, first and foremost, we are all out here just giving our opinions as we see them. And when it comes to predictions or whatever, you get some right, you get some wrong, you move on, you analyze, you learn, you iterate. There's nothing special there. However, I think it's really important to just restate what I know most of my audience knows and remembers about the entire should Biden stay in or get out thing. At no point was I arguing to keep Biden in the race. There was a point 10 months ago where every poll, the fundraising numbers, the mood of the Democratic Party, everything pointed to right now, the risks to kicking Biden out as he is winning primaries seem greater than Biden staying in, given the incumbency bias and advantage and the totality of the situation. As circumstances changed, I always gave you my best assessment and my thinking at the time. I was never, quote, arguing to keep Biden in. But there came a point, and it was before many of you were ready to acknowledge it. There were some in my audience who said, David, you've got to say it's time for Biden to go. There were others who, when I said, hey, you know what? At this point, the risk of Biden going no longer seems bigger than the risk of Biden staying. The debate performance was not good. Fundraising numbers are drying up. Major donors are saying we're not giving any more money. At a certain point, I gave you what I give you every time, which is my best, honest, and frank assessment with all the information I have. And that assessment became, in the aftermath of the debate now several months ago, it doesn't actually seem like Biden can win. It seems Biden's realizing he can't win. It seems donors are realizing Biden can't win. So by all means, there are infinite reasons to stop watching this show or listening to the show, but don't make them imaginary things like I was arguing to keep Biden. I was giving you my best assessment of the facts on the ground at the time. All right, less substantively, from TikTok, you look like Jake Gyllenhaal. You know, I've heard that before. I will gladly accept that. I have no issue with that whatsoever. All right. I mean, doesn't seem like the worst thing in the world to look like Jake Gyllenhaal. And then also from TikTok, very different. You're a joke. It's the wrong you're. They mean you are, but they put Y-O-U-R, like my a joke. And also they said, don't believe any shitvyou say gayfer. Gayfer. I assume this is homophobic, but the spelling and grammar is so atrocious. It's so heinous that I struggle to really figure out the particular textures of the homophobia. Okay. Rogue Femme says about Donald Trump's recent comments regarding the only way Democrats can win is if they cheat. Rogue Femme says, pure narcissistic mindset. If I'm winning, it's fair. If I'm losing, then it's rigged against me. Yes, this is egomaniacal narcissism, pathological narcissism. It can only be a fair election if the outcome is that I've won. Any other outcome definitionally means it must have been stolen. I must have been cheated. It can't ever just be that I lost. that the people didn't want me. That actually is extraordinarily dangerous. Now, I know that we've gone back and forth over the last few years many times. Does Trump, quote, know that he lost or not? Sometimes it'll slip out. Next time we'll win. This is why they beat us. They beat us, but it was because they tricked or whatever. Trump has sometimes kind of let the facade slip. And so where I land on it at this point is Trump realizes he lost, but believes it was due to some kind of subterfuge or trickery or whatever the case may be. That's kind of where I land at this point in time. Trist Kiss made a very interesting comment on YouTube. And the comment is as follows. Even though I was leaning towards Josh Shapiro for VP, I do think Kamala made the best choice in selecting Tim Walz. He will definitely be a happy warrior for her. He came up with the weird line that clearly got under Trump's skin after all. And I laughed out loud with how he responded in an interview with Jake Tapper about Republican criticism of his implementing free school lunches. His response was, wow, what a monster I am for making sure kids don't have empty bellies during school. Brilliant. Walz seems to be the perfect combination of progressive ideals wrapped up in an older, folksy white dude who will appeal to liberals and moderates alike. Kamala knows what she's doing. She's going to make a great president, and Walz will be a fantastic vice president, too. Let's not put the cart before the horse. Before you can be a fantastic president, you have to become president. Let's make sure we're focusing on that step first. But I generally agree very, very much with what this individual is saying. I thought Mark Kelly was a great choice as far as his political acumen, intelligence, and positions, but that the public side of him is less good. In that weird debate against that strange dude, Blake Masters, Mark Kelly was right on every issue, but he was not a particularly good debater, and I don't know that he was a particularly good or is a particularly good rhetorician. Josh Shapiro, an excellent choice. I would vote for Josh Shapiro for president today. However, I don't know that it's smart to complicate your possible path to victory with anti-Semitism. Because Josh Shapiro is Jewish, there is anti-Semitism on the left and on the right. I don't know, and I say this as a Jewish person, I don't know to what extent anti-Semitism, latent, overt, implicit, explicit, could have hurt a Harris-Shapiro ticket. Would vote for him today, would worry about that. When you take the kind of sum of all these parts, Tim Walz, a fantastic pick. Strikes the right tone, has credentials that the right often likes to deny to Democrats, military service, gun guy from the Midwest, all these different things, clear speaking, sports, football, take your pick, kind of checks off a lot of these boxes. And, there's always an identity game. Republicans and Democrats play the identity game. Trump decided, I'm not picking a woman. Give me some men to select from. Kamala Harris decided, I think a white guy or a white presenting guy, Josh Shapiro, are kind of our best choice. I think that it would be a drag on the campaign if we are too overtly the party of non-white women. So there's always identity politics at play. The question is, are you using identity politics to silence people? Just thinking what is the right kind of makeup of the ticket is not oppressive identity politics. And Tim Walz probably is the right choice as far as that goes as well. So agree very strongly and beyond with this comment. We did a poll on our YouTube channel in which 108,000 of you voted. This is a strategy poll, and it was used to attack my audience in a way that I really don't like. So let me tell you what the poll is, what the results are, and what I mean. The poll said, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz should introduce an agenda that excites either the progressive wing of the Democratic Party or centrist Democrats and never Trump Republicans. And almost 3/4 of my audience said the Harris-Walz agenda should excite centrist Democrats and never Trump Republicans. This was wrongly interpreted to mean the David Pakman audience is very conservative. This is a strategy question. The election will come down to sometimes voters, independent voters, undecided voters in 3 to 5 critical swing states. The opinion of my audience was, given that Harris-Walz on paper are likely the most progressive Democratic nominees in American history, and most progressives understand that, are there more votes to gain from finding a way to appeal to the centrist Democrats and to the never Trump Republicans who are just looking for any reason to say, hey, you know what? I'm not staying home. I'm not going to relent and vote Trump. I'm going to get out and vote for the Democratic ticket. So as far as the strategy question goes, I think that people are right. It was wrongly used to suggest that my audience is conservative. And, time and time again, every time we do audience surveys, we find that the audience is to my left and I'm to the left of Joe Biden. Okay, from the subreddit, Scientist78 said, hearing David swear, I like it. I always thought David was very careful when speaking, but I just realized it's because he is no longer on TV and radio. Hearing him read some quotes and drop the F-bomb was awesome. It's been a complete and total non-event for me. If someone, now that we're not on radio and TV, if I get a voicemail that contains profanity, we just play it. It's no big deal. If there's an email I'm reading that contains profanity, I don't have to censor myself. It just feels a little more adult. It's sort of like Curb Your Enthusiasm is sort of like Seinfeld if we didn't have to cater to the FCC, if it was a more adult show. And I think that it's a little more serious not to have to bleeps and, I think we're significantly better off. All right. No Horse wrote on Reddit, are we ever going to address the fact that David used to wear oversized tan suits with shirts that didn't match? And they've included a screenshot that is 11 years old. So here's what I want to say to you. If you don't want to watch this show because you don't like my shirt or my hair or my mustache or the size of my microphone or whatever, any reason to watch or not watch, you are the boss. But I do think it's important to clarify that the style 11 years ago was not for the slimmer fit suits and sports coats and jackets that there is today. So we have to, I hate to make a crass analogy, but it's sort of like when we evaluate an elected official's position on a social issue when they were in office in 1850, it would be useful to consider the norms of the time. And the norms of 11 years ago were for baggier clothing. Okay? So please, come on, guys. Come on. info@davidpakman.com. If you have something you'd like to say, we sometimes will select YouTube comments or TikTok comments or whatever the case may be. We've got a great bonus show for you today. We're here all week next week. I have a very, very exciting announcement about my triumphant return to Washington, D.C. that is forthcoming, that I think some of you will say, David's finally getting the recognition he probably doesn't deserve, but is interesting to get anyway. And as a final reminder, we are now beyond 1,500 pre-orders for my forthcoming book, The Echo Machine. Help us get to 2,000 by pre-ordering the book at davidpakman.com/echo. You can find it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, bookshop.org, Audible, Apple Podcasts, Apple Books, Apple eBooks, anywhere that physical books, ebooks, and audiobooks are sold, you will find the book. Every pre-order, regardless of format, pushes us one closer to 2,000. I'll give you updated numbers next week. I'll see you on the bonus show. Have a great weekend, everybody.